Against the Current is sponsored in part by ServPro of Pulaski and Laurel counties. When fire or water damage takes over your life, trust the team in green at ServPro to help you make it like it never even happened. They provide 24/7 service when you need it most. Give the local office a call at 606-877-2160 or online at servpro-pulaski-laurel-counties.com. Franchises are independently owned and operated. Today I'm joined by Mr. Chris Girdler. As a seventh-generation Kentuckian, Chris Girdler's roots run strong and deep throughout his hometown of Somerset and the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Having an extensive background in both the public and private sector, Chris is the president and CEO of Somerset-Pulaski Economic Development Authority, also known as SPEDA. SPEDA is a groundbreaking and innovative economic development organization that oversees and focuses on a well-rounded and collaborative approach to bettering the community and region. Its focus is business creation, expansion, retention, and attraction. With his background as a former state senator as well as a CEO in the houseboat manufacturing industry, Chris Girdler brings a wealth of experience, knowledge, and a vast network to lead the economic development efforts of the Somerset and Pulaski County community and the entire Lake Cumberland region. Girdler is an avid outdoorsman and family man. He and his wife, Courtney, reside here in Somerset with their two daughters, Charleston and Channing. Mr. Girdler, welcome.
Thank you, Adam. I'm honored to be here. I want to commend and compliment you on starting up this podcast. You're doing great work for the community, bringing a lot of qualified, wonderful people to the forefront, being able to share some of the good news that's going on in Somerset-Pulaski County, and just want to commend your entrepreneurship. Congrats on all the success you've had with this.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And as hard as you guys work, bringing a lot of this great industry and great impact to our community, I just want to help be, I guess, maybe a megaphone of sorts to help push that word out even further anytime we can. Well, Chris, what I'd like to do here at first is, what first handful of guests we've had is we'll do kind of a rapid fire questions. We'll go through a few easy, a few maybe a little bit tougher questions. We'll test your mind today a little bit and see what we can do with it. You ready for it?
Yes, sir. I'm ready. Shoot.
All right. First one, and that's a perfect segue there. What's your favorite game to hunt?
My favorite game to hunt, obviously deer and turkey or would be the number one most common. Yeah. I would probably say, believe it or not, though, wild turkeys, simply because of a little bit of the chase, a little bit of the communication with them back and forth. You know, a deer is not really going to talk back to you near as much as a turkey will. And, of course, that time of year in the spring in particular is when I enjoy being out in the woods the most. Everything's coming to life. The temperatures are warming up just a little bit more. So I would probably say the wild turkey, which, as you well know, and may remember, Benjamin Franklin wanted the wild turkey to be the national bird instead of the bald eagle. So I've always found that very interesting as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, I've got, especially last spring, we have a wild turkey that's been roaming our subdivision. So if I have an issue with it again this spring, can I just call you? But I mean, I think we're probably we're maybe half a mile outside of the city limits. That's okay, isn't it?
If I can't take care of it, we'll find somebody who will.
Okay, good deal. Next question. So I'm big breakfast fanatic. It's a big thing, kind of a family tradition for us to become a Saturday morning breakfast to sit down, kind of take it low key for a little bit. So a big debated topic we always have every Saturday is pancakes or waffles.
Pancakes or waffles? Wow. That's the question posed to me. Having two young daughters at the house, they like them both, but they love their mother's homemade pancakes. And nice. She actually makes a protein mix with the pancakes themselves. So I'm going to go with pancakes, and if there's blueberry available, that's definitely what I'm going to choose.
I see. My wife's a big blueberry fanatic. My boys are chocolate chip, and I think really just because they just want as much sugar as they can possibly get into their body. So I'll let them have those. I'm a plain Jane guy. I just kind of roll with it, maybe a little dash of cinnamon, but that's it. So,
and may I add a little horse Soldier Bourbon syrup, which horse Soldier Bourbon makes.
Wonderful reviews of that.
That is a nice little added touch from time to time. I wouldn't recommend it for the children, however.
Totally understandable. Another question here that I said I was actually going to bring myself, and it was on Twitter, and the mayor actually favorited that tweet. He liked it, so I'm assuming that he was also a proponent and supported this. And that's the question is, when will, probably not SPEDA, but when will Chris Girdler join the cool kids on Twitter?
Hey, I'm lucky to be on what I call book face. Um, uh, I think social media serves a wonderful purpose, Adam, in our world today. I love being able to see friends of mine from 20 and 30 years ago. Uh, I love seeing their children, what they're doing. However, there is so much negativity in the world today. So I'm not one of those people who is extremely eager to jump out there and join in that world. And it'll probably come at some point in time. But I'm not definitely in a rush to jump out there and do something of that nature right now.
Totally understand that too. There are many days where you just kind of want to get rid of all social media in general and just not even have it. Next question here, and it's kind of a two-part question, I guess. Favorite, either a book recommendation or a book you're reading currently or one recently that really stuck out to you. And then if you're a podcast listener, kind of the same thing there too.
Oh, goodness, Adam. I love these questions. As far as from a book perspective, I am an avid reader. A good friend of mine told me many, many years ago, leaders are readers. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. I think reading is the core of anyone's education and success in life. Highly encourage that with my young daughters as well. Speaking of my daughters, one book that I have been reading at the first of every year, I started this back when my oldest daughter was born, is a book called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. That is a book I'm currently in the middle of. Again, I would highly recommend that to any dad out there. It's very eye-opening. And again, I make that an annual read to kick the year off, just to remind me of focus and things that dads can do to help raise strong girls, especially in today's society.
That's very important.
Another book that I love, I'm a big nonfiction reader. It's just something that has always been a passion of mine from a history perspective. One book I just recently finished is Undaunted Courage. Okay. It's a wonderful book on the Lewis and Clark expedition. Nice. And really, it makes one realize what our forefathers and so many before us struggled and accomplished to create this great country. And in particular, another book that I would highly recommend, I've reread it just recently, and it's very fitting given what has occurred in our nation's capital, as well as the civil unrest across our country. United States Senator Ben Sasse has a wonderful book entitled Them, THEM, Them. Would highly recommend that as well, especially given what we've seen across our country over the last several years. Mm-hmm. Oh, and from a podcast perspective, Adam, I love what you're doing. I've had many friends share various clips with me of what you have done, people you've had on the show. I want to commend you again for what you've done. I wouldn't say that I'm an avid regular listener to other podcasts. However, I have listened on occasion to like Ben Shapiro has a very good podcast. David Goggins, I don't know if you've heard of David Goggins before. I really like a lot of those very motivational, hardcore guys. David Goggins, Jocko Willink. I don't know if Jocko has a great book out called Extreme Ownership. I think if more of us would take ownership of our lives and our actions, we'd all be better off as a society as well. But those are some of the podcasts that I've listened to from time to time.
Probably don't listen to David Goggins around the kids.
No. And when I have shared some of that with friends, I definitely have that disclaimer in the text message or with the message going along with, be careful when you open this up.
I have his book though, but if you, just look past that part of it, that message he's delivering is incredible. And then
very inspirational story.
Yeah. The Extreme Ownership was actually a book recommended by Dan Cheshire in one of the earlier episodes. He's a big proponent of that too. So,
okay.
Last question here, and then we'll kind of dive into, the meat of this is love to win or hate to lose?
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. Love to win or hate to lose? Yeah. Sorry. I almost confused myself there.
Love to win or hate to lose? I would say a little bit of both. But I think it's, my parents and grandparents taught me to do both with humility and with grace. And I think, again, that's something that society and social media has stirred that pot a lot,
Absolutely.
has forgotten how to do. I think you win with grace and humility, and you lose with grace and humility. I'd say it's a little bit of both. Both are motivating factors for me.
Yeah, I like that. Well, Chris, I've given I guess a 30,000-foot view of your role at SPEDA and kind of what SPEDA does for this community. For those that, I mean, in my opinion, they probably be living under a rock. But for those that don't maybe know about SPEDA or don't know the services you guys provide or what your all's mission is, help bring the listeners in on that and kind of clue everybody in a little bit there.
Again, appreciate the opportunity to talk about SPEDA anytime, any place. We are coming up on our 2-year anniversary this year, next month, which actually, Adam's a little misleading. That was when we were actually formed as an entity, but we really didn't get our legs up and underneath us, get transitioned out from our predecessor organization until summer of 2019. So really kind of that 2-year mark will be summer of 2021.
Okay.
But SPEDA came about, and I want to commend Mayor Alan Keck and Judge Steve Kelly for realizing and seeing and admitting that economic development efforts in our community, and this is hard to say, but the facts bear it out, they had been very stale and stagnant for well over a decade, unfortunately. And we had to do something as a community to shake things up. And the SPEDA organization was born out of that. SPEDA is an acronym, Somerset-Pulaski Economic Development Authority. And for far too long in our community, industrial development was looked upon as being the only thing that economic development entailed. And people thought economic development was something, let's go out and build a spec building and hope that one day somebody might come and work there.
Yeah.
And, when SPEDA came into existence, we said, economic development is so much more than that. Economic development is anything that you do economically, politically, and socially to benefit the citizens of your community. So we came in and we said, yes, it is industrial recruitment, but it's also retail commercial development, tourism, marketing and promotion, education, workforce development, arts and entertainment, cultural enrichment, so many other things, and really operating underneath that quality of life umbrella. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, is the quality of life. Right. Companies in today's world, Adam, many years ago, we would all leave and depart our communities and go to where the quote unquote jobs were. Now, jobs and companies are wanting to go to where people want to live. So that's one of the initiatives and endeavors of SPEDA, is just that overall quality of life, and really trying to pursue so many different angles, basically a community planning organization in many ways as well. That's kind of it in a nutshell. It's quite a bit deeper than that, but that's kind of the overview of it.
I'm glad you mentioned too, you guys are a year and a half to 2 years kind of coming up on that point. You guys have done an incredible amount for this community in such a short time. What has been, I guess maybe explain to me a little bit about what that process is like as far as recruiting new businesses, recruiting new industry. What's that like to you? And then kind of a follow up with that would be, I guess, what's been the biggest surprise or kind of eye opener during that process?
Oh, that's definitely a double-edged sword of a question, so to speak. It has been twofold. And Adam, it has been extremely rewarding to see some of the various accomplishments that have taken place over the last year and a half to 2 years. But then once we got into the flow, into things, it was also extremely depressing to see the things that had not been done many years preceding. And where Somerset-Pulaski County did not have a seat at the table in the big statewide discussions that were taking place. And now, Adam, I can say without any fear of contradiction that Somerset and Pulaski County has a seat at the table. You're not going to hear many discussions taking place in Frankfort and beyond that Somerset and Pulaski County is not being mentioned when people are talking about the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And that's something we take a lot of pride in. One of our taglines is making business about people. And our people are our competitive advantage. Without question, we live in a beautiful, absolutely beautiful scenic area. And Somerset-Pulaski County is a mix of all things that Kentucky offers. And if you just break it into a geographic area, into those 4 or 5 different things that we have to offer, from the lakes region, the mountainous region, the bluegrass, and in the western areas of this community, it's phenomenal. But when we say making business about people, that's our number one asset, our number one resource. And when we say that, we also mean from all walks of life, taking that holistic approach, trying to help everyone from the business CEO to the person who is worried about where their dinner is going to come from.
Yeah.
We're very excited about being able to have partnered with God's Food Pantry, which we've done for the last year or so, enabling them to store a lot of their materials at no charge in some property that we have. And even more excited to have sold that property just last month to God's Food Pantry. And I cannot wait for the community to see what great things that the pantry has in store. And it's so much more than a pantry. It's so much more than that. And I just wanted to make mention of that because really you want to, that old saying, that all boats rise with the tide. That's what we're after here at the SPEDA organization, and blessed to be able to work with Pulaski County Fiscal Court and the Somerset City Council in trying to accomplish a lot of those things.
And I spoke to Brenda probably maybe about a month or so before that sale was kind of official and went through, and I think it was getting close to the finish line at that point. And I can't even put into words how, I guess maybe a little bit anxiously excited, but just how excited she was to be able to have that opportunity because of the services it's going to allow them to provide, and just the amount of people they will now be able to reach as a result of something like this, and new programs that can be added, and just how much more they're going to be able to serve the community. So that's very important.
Absolutely, Adam. And Brenda's heart is so into the mission
incredible
that they have. They have a very dedicated board of directors that are very instrumental in their success as well. It's so exciting to see that type of collaboration take place between an economic development entity and a food pantry. And I think that is just representative of what happens when we work together, and when we get past any differences we may have as a community, and collaborate and coordinate our effort. Because you got to get everybody on the bus moving in the same direction. And that's where we're blessed as a community to be doing that.
And talking about the community, and we're still obviously in a pandemic, vaccines are starting to roll out. What kind of impact has COVID had on SPEDA? I guess maybe your all's efforts, and then I guess maybe touch too on a little bit of what you all have been able to provide to businesses and those in our community during the pandemic.
But without question, COVID has had an impact. It's in every realm. It has been a very sad thing that our community and country have gone through with the COVID pandemic. It's been a difficult year for very many. And our country has endured, and it will continue to endure, as FDR once stated. We're closing out a difficult year without question, and Somerset-Pulaski County, I believe, Adam, has risen to the challenge. I think we're a shining bright example of leadership, of community spirit. I'm grateful for how this community pulled together through this, and I think we're going to become even stronger because of it. Our budget was cut because obviously the occupational tax budget was anticipated going down. But we've proven through day one at SPEDA that we can do more with less. We are without question operating at record low levels at SPEDA. In particular, I just got to throw this out here. We are spending $300,000 less prior to our budget cut. We're spending $300,000 less per year than what our predecessor organization was spending. And I think if one looks at our book of accomplishments and the activity within the community, it is a prime example of being able to do more with less. Now that takes working 60 to 80 hours a week. That takes not accepting no as an answer sometimes, and doubling down on efforts, and just going that extra mile from time to time. And when you're talking about the COVID response, I think that's what it has entailed as well. SPEDA, we did not close down a single day during the COVID pandemic. I have been in the office every single day since the COVID pandemic, actually since SPEDA was started. And I don't say this braggingly whatsoever, but I've only taken 4 days off, including Saturdays, in the last approximately 2 years. And that's what it takes. That's the dedication and passion that my board of directors and this organization have for our community. When you look at so many of the layoffs that occurred back in the spring of 2020, it was very emotional for many. However, there's always a silver lining in everything if one looks hard enough. And a lot of companies and a lot of organizations looked at this as an opportunity to grow and become better. What you've seen right now, Adam, is companies have been on a hiring spree all throughout the summer and all throughout the fall. A lot of people, myself included, predicted a V-shaped recovery from this pandemic. And really, that's what we have seen. A lot of our businesses and industries here are still looking to hire more people and cannot fill all the positions that they have. We've been blessed to partner, for example, with TTAI, with Hendrickson, and many other organizations with hiring events. And these are amazing opportunities for our citizens. $20 an hour starting wages, direct hires, full benefits starting day one at some of these companies. So the jobs are there if people have an interest. Our Chamber of Commerce, Bobby Clue and his staff right now, Adam, the Chamber of Commerce in Somerset-Pulaski County is the best it ever has been. I've been there when the organization was in the red and been blessed to see it grow into the profitable, financially sound organization that it is. And I just commend that board and everything that they've done. Bobby and the chamber partnered with Judge Kelly and Pulaski County Fiscal Court to offer up those free masks for many different businesses that were needed. That was something actually that SPEDA came to the forefront and did in early spring. We wanted to make sure that masks were available to people who needed them. We were helping to find resources for that. And then actually, Adam, we came in and purchased ourselves out of our budget and donated that, as well as hand sanitizers, to daycare centers. That was one thing that was getting lost in the conversation early on. Was the importance of childcare for so many people. And that we jumped out there and worked hand in hand with a lot of our childcare centers, making sure in those early stages when it wasn't readily available that they had what they needed to do their jobs. So I could go on, don't want to belabor the point, but when life gives you lemons, you try to make lemonade. And that's what I'm so proud of Somerset-Pulaski County for doing. We pivoted as an organization, SPEDA. We doubled down our efforts. When a lot of similar organizations weren't coming into the office, weren't returning phone calls, weren't answering emails, we doubled down and actually increased our workload and actually increased our marketing and promotional efforts and outreach to companies. And I think right now you're seeing a little bit of the payoff of that. And I can assure you the community is going to see the payoff of that in the next 3 to 6 months.
A couple of quick points there that I thought were really interesting. First, this most recent one. And we're recording this on January 8th, and I guess it was maybe this morning you guys sent out an email just from the Lee and Haley show where y'all were on there, and they kind of put, I think Lee kind of put mayors across the state of Kentucky on notice that Somerset has it going on. And that's a testament to the work you guys are doing too. And like you said, where you all are doubling down on your efforts too, where when others are kind of drawing back a little bit.
Thank you for mentioning that, Adam.
The other point I thought too that's been really evident to me is in regards to jobs and hiring. So, I mean, I talk to business owners across the board every day. That's been my role in my career. But something that's really been evident, especially on this podcast, every single person I've interviewed, they're all practically begging, we need people to hire. We need to fill these jobs. Like, we need people. And so that's one goal I have, I guess a New Year's resolution you can call it, but is bringing in different folks in the HR realm to help bring in maybe strategies around hiring, retaining good talent, how to find those people and get those people in the right seat on the bus. That way, like you said, rising tide rises all ships and can help move our industries across the board ahead here. So I think that's very important, and I commend you all for the efforts you all are doing for that too.
Thank you, Adam. That's, when SPEDA was created, we said there's two pillars we want to stand on. Number one, we want to take care of our existing businesses that are within Somerset and Pulaski County. Far too often, once a ribbon has been cut, you'll see the community kind of wash their hands, walk away. That is not what is taking place in Somerset-Pulaski County. Taking care of our people that are here now is our number one priority. And actually, studies show, I think the statistic is somewhere, Adam, I want to say 70% of all business expansions occur from an existing, or I'm sorry, 70% of all economic development and new jobs created come from an existing business choosing to expand.
Nice.
That is something that, and again, coming from the business world in which I do, and you mentioned in the houseboat industry, we always said that your best salesperson in the marketplace is going to be a happy customer.
Yeah.
So if we are trying to recruit a new industry or new company to this community, we want our existing businesses and companies to be able to tell those people, that this community values you. They value the job creators. They value the business community, and we'll take care of you. And then, of course, then the other pillar is education and workforce development. Before industrial recruitment, economic development was all about location. Now, any site selector will tell you that it's workforce.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this, Adam, back when we did the SPEDA unveil, and I had read this in the Wall Street Journal back a year or so ago. And at the time, there was a study that 71% of the youth in America, ages 17 to 24, do not qualify to serve in the U.S. military. And that is a staggering statistic.
Wow.
And a lot of times I'll repeat it for added emphasis because it takes a while to absorb that. But that's due to behavioral, physical, and educational issues.
Yeah.
71% of our youth don't qualify to serve in the U.S. military. So we're seeing that on the workforce side of things as well. And that's where we're engaging. Somerset Community College, Adam, is an amazing asset for this community.
Yep.
We are so great and so happy and excited to be able to partner with them in so many different areas, but in particular, workforce development. Elisa Johnson is who leads a lot of those efforts down at SCC, does a phenomenal job. She oversees that. We work with her a lot in the Kentucky Fame program as well. That is a program that doesn't get near the recognition that it should, presents wonderful opportunities for our young adults, really of any age, to pursue an education, a free education, free training, as well as have jobs available for them after the fact as well as during. We have some great companies here in Somerset-Pulaski County that are partnering with that Kentucky Fame program, and the success stories just continue to go hand in hand. We're also very excited from a workforce perspective when we talk about the reentry programs. Jailer Anthony McCullum, who's doing phenomenal work at the jail. We've partnered with him and many other organizations. We actually were the first economic development entity in Kentucky to institute, in partnership with our jail, a soft skills training program within the detention center. And actually, while this soft skills training is taught within the detention center, the state inmates, if they graduate from that program, they actually have 30 days taken off their sentence that they are serving. So, again, multiple facets to that. You're saving the taxpayers money because that person's not in jail for 30 more days. They are coming out of jail as a much more productive citizen. That's just one thing, but probably the most moving, one of the proudest accomplishments of SPEDA is, again, a partnership that we are just a small part of, but so thankful and grateful to be a part of it. And that is when we were going before COVID in partnership with Anthony McCollum, Lake Cumberland Area Development District, Goodwill Industries, Somerset Community College, the list goes on, where we would go into PCDC and we would meet with in person various inmates, male and female, who were within 30 days of their release date, and talk to them about opportunities that exist while they are there, but also opportunities that are in front of them once they get out of the detention center. If they have a transportation issue, if they have a housing issue, if they have an addiction issue, if they're looking for a job. You had 8 to 10 partners who were there in person presenting to the inmates. And it has truly been one of the most moving things I've ever been a part of. I commend the group. We actually are having our first meeting next week, Adam, to start getting ready for hopefully some of the COVID restrictions lifting to where we can get back into the detention center and start, because we were starting to see progress. And then COVID came in, obviously, and we were no longer allowed to go into the facility. But Jailer McCollum and I just met a couple of weeks ago to start getting the wheels turning on this again. And that's one of those things you're not going to see results immediately, but in time you will start to see the fruits of your labor there. And again, just can't commend the entire group for the work being done.
Yeah, I think that's. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of an echo here. I think that's just one area too that's very, I guess, what's probably one of the biggest underrated aspects of what you all do, and people that aren't aware of that. So I'm glad you really touched on that a lot, because I knew a tiny slice of kind of what you guys have going on there, but I didn't know the full realm of what you all have accomplished with that and what you guys have on the horizon for that. So that's a little bit of mind-blowing there.
Thank you.
But that's a good segue too. It's kind of brought up talking about workforce development and education. We actually had a listener submit a question, and I was very impressed with it. But they want to know how we can begin a partnership with different local educational systems, or maybe this even with PCDC, but to increase tech literacy. And so whether it's coding, computer engineering, but just to help create a pool of qualified candidates for these type of emerging careers that we're starting to see, especially in a work from home standpoint, where now you can definitely have these kind of careers and work right here in Somerset, Kentucky, even though you may be helping someone 8 hours away.
I couldn't agree more. And when I say this, a lot of people might feel that it is anti-education, and nothing could be further from the truth. We should all, for a lifetime, try to always pursue and enhance our intellectual capabilities, and we should always be in that mode of learning. None of us are ever too old to learn. But in saying that, a 4-year bachelor's degree is not for everyone. Yep. And Adam, we have seen over the last 15, 20, 30 years, a lot of people feel that they're a failure if for some reason they have not obtained a 4-year bachelor's degree. And nothing could be further from the truth. Some of the biggest financial failures I have ever seen are people who go into thousands, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of student loan debt. And when they come out of school with that degree, a lot of times they cannot find a job using that degree. And when they are able to find a job, it is not one where financially they will ever be able to have a quality of life and be able to repay that student loan debt. So that is an issue we have to address as a society. And I'm the first to admit that the value in education can't always be determined in dollars and cents. There is a tremendous value to education that goes beyond financial. However, when we are talking about good paying jobs, good futures for our people, our citizens, we have to take into to consideration so many of the great technical jobs that exist. And there are so many opportunities out there for our youth right now to learn. I will tell you what, in my opinion, Adam, is the issue is the communication between the various technical training programs that exist and that information being delivered to the students who may be considering what their future is. We actually instituted a pilot program. We launched it. It was a pilot public education leadership program within Somerset High School. It was focused on leadership and entrepreneurship. I wanted to make mention of this because we have decided not to continue that program.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth trying. And the school system was an amazing partner. But we saw that was not necessarily the avenue we need to go. So we're going to be looking at trying other things. And, what our job needs to be with workforce and with these technical training is it shouldn't be our job as a community, a school system, a business leader, whatever it is. It's not our job to appeal to the lowest common denominator. We need to try to raise that bar, not appeal to that lowest common denominator. So there are wonderful technical training programs. Again, the Kentucky FAME program, through a partnership with Somerset Community College and with SPEDA and many private sector entities, is one of the best programs going out there. The KCTCS, the parent of SCC, which I'm very honored to serve on their board of regents right now. They are just now starting to promote, go through the promotional period of the Work Ready Scholarship programs that KCTCS offers. Wonderful, wonderful programs. Our school systems have a wonderful vocational training, but again, it's that communication between the educators, the trainers, and those students who will undergo that training, and also us as a society to say, there is nothing wrong with not getting a college education. There is actually a lot of valor and a lot of courage and a lot of bravery taken by going out here and trying to learn a new skill. And in time, that is going to pay tremendous dividends for that person and their family. Right now, I know a lot of trades have fallen by the wayside, unfortunately, Adam. But if a young man or woman is willing to work hard, willing to learn a trade, there is nothing keeping them from earning a six-figure salaried living without a college education. Those opportunities exist. The proof is in the pudding. I could name off many examples right now off the top of my head, from welders, plumbers, contractors, things of that nature that are making that kind of money right now. They just work diligently. They were trained properly, and the opportunities exist out there.
And there are, like you said, opportunities that exist. There are those folks right now that have had maybe their own business at a certain trade for years that are begging to bring someone like in and train them and get them to that point because they need that help. And it's it's literally across the board. Whatever you want, throw a dart, you can hit it, and it's there.
Absolutely, Adam. And I think it goes back to a lot. That statistic I mentioned that the USA Today and Wall Street Journal reported on, where 71% of our youth can't qualify to serve in our military services. That's extremely disheartening. I don't know what the answer is, but that doesn't and shouldn't keep us as a community from trying to address it. We can't stick our heads in the sand. We got to talk about our issues openly, or we'll never address them.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Well, one of the probably most submitted user questions, or I guess on the topic, and you touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the podcast, is, of course, everyone wants to know more about Horse Soldier. They want to know when, they want to know how big, what it's going to look like, what they want to know, the ins and outs of everything on it. So I'll try and condense it all down, and all the questions I did get down into one, and just say, tell us what you can say about Horse Soldier.
Let me say first off that I don't know that I have ever met such a great team of individuals in my life.
Yeah.
It has been a true honor and a privilege to get to know those guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I should say. But you can't talk about Horse Soldier Bourbon without commending Mayor Alan Keck. The mayor made it a mission of his prior to even being elected. A lot of politicos, Adam, in this community might have told him not to campaign on bringing a bourbon distillery into this community.
Yeah.
But he did that for many different reasons. Somebody might have told him not to do that, but he was very bold in his vision. Actually recorded a video prior to even being sworn into office, and then went about working very diligently to go after someone in the bourbon industry. And you hear a lot about serendipity. You hear a lot about God winks, which I believe in God winks wholeheartedly. It was a God wink with Horse Soldier Bourbon. It is a perfect match for this community. It is something that, where we as a community, we're pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps. However, Horse Soldier Bourbon is accelerating that tremendously. The various contractors, like, for example, their architectural firm out of London, England, that's going to be doing work here in Somerset, Kentucky. Their experienced design firm out of Los Angeles that's going to be doing work here in Somerset, Kentucky. And then when you take into consideration the economic impact that the build will have, that the then long-term jobs are going to have, and then the tourism aspect of it, it is truly just a grand slam for this community. It's one of those things that Lake Cumberland has been missing. And to consider the thought of having a 200 plus acre bourbon distillery farm setting overlooking the shores of Lake Cumberland that attracts 4 million visitors per year, none of us can predict the impact that this is going to have. It is just so exciting to be working with these guys. They are true American heroes. And you mentioned the timeline. COVID did set back their timeline quite a bit, as it did everyone all over the world with a global pandemic taking place. But I can tell you it also has given them an opportunity to expand upon what their vision was for this community. So I think what the community is going to see is once Horse Soldier Bourbon does announce those final details and plans, that the project has grown quite a bit from what they originally anticipated being here. And it's just so exciting. It's going to happen in this first half of 2021. You're going to see all the above starting to take place. I think that's when you are also going to start seeing dirt being moved, things like that going on. So going to be very exciting. And with Horse Soldier Bourbon, you're going to have that exponential impact. They raise our profile so much, not on the national stage, but on the worldwide stage. Yep. Horse Soldier Bourbon is helping to put Somerset-Pulaski County on the worldwide map. And we're going to see other things come as a result of that. In fact, Adam, you're going to see in the next 30 to 60 days another major announcement coming for this community that will have the impact of the level of Horse Soldier Bourbon. And very excited about that. A few more little I's to dot and T's to cross, but we feel extremely confident in what's taking place right now.
It's always fun to hear this. I didn't really intend for that on this podcast. I mean, across all episodes, but this has turned into a series now where almost every episode, someone either announces exact plans for either a new office they're opening, new location they're opening, or new plan that's coming, or they say, basically, stay tuned. Within the next 2-3 months, you're going to hear some big news. And so it's kind of a you heard it here first type deal. I like that.
Oh, it is. It's so exciting. When you look at what the Chamber of Commerce is doing, even through the COVID pandemic, with all their ribbon cuttings, the virtual ribbon cuttings that was taking place. If you look at what Team Modern is doing right now at Valley Oak, what an amazing success story. I can't say enough positive things about the Ray family and that company culture, that they have just an amazing American success story. You look at the Hollander Company relocating here not relocating, I'm sorry, expanding here out of Cincinnati. They're the first expansion that family-owned business has ever had outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, occurred right here in Somerset-Pulaski County. I could go on and on. It is just, again, such a wonderful opportunity that I'm blessed with to be in the position we are and to be able to work with the mayor, the judge, those governmental entities, the private sector businesses, the partnership and collaboration that's taking place. It's just so exciting.
I'll try and kind of wind us down, I guess, maybe a little bit here. For those that are still hanging on, I'm sure they are, because I've learned an incredible amount here. And I think this is, again, going to be a very popular episode among our listeners here. Quickly, I guess, maybe what do you think on the outside is probably the biggest misconception of SPEDA? Maybe as far as what people think you all do or something to that effect.
Oh, goodness. I really, misconception. A lot of people could take different meanings to that word in particular. From a misconception perspective, I really don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
I would probably have to be told of what some of those misconceptions may be.
Sure. No, that's no problem.
But with us being as multifaceted as we are, and trying to carry as many buckets as we are, I'm sure there may be some misconceptions about what we do out there, but would be happy to address those. And that's one thing about us, Adam. We operate in full transparency. If somebody wants to come here to our office right now, there's glass walls. If you just walk through the front door, look both directions, you're going to see the SPEDA office. Our board meetings are open to the public. We're willing to share any and all information. And that's the way things should be.
100% agree with you there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. What one last kind of user submitted question here, and then we'll wind down a little bit more. Question was brought in just about wanting to know about the Ag Expo Center that's been mentioned, similar to something like that's over in Corbin, and if that's something that may be a possibility here, if that may be on the horizon for 2021, or what kind of that outlook looks like for it.
I appreciate that question, Adam, and whoever submitted that. Agriculture for a long time has unfortunately been overlooked as an economic development tool within itself. Agriculture is a major industry alone. And what you're seeing in ag tech and agritourism even is going to even continue to grow. I can't say enough wonderful things about, for example, Haney's farm, celebrating 150 years in business. What that family and what that business means to this community, we can never say enough about. The agri-tech industry is expanding constantly all across the Commonwealth and the nation. You're seeing our food supply changing. So agriculture is extremely important. From the Ag Expo perspective, that is something that we have great interest in as an organization. We've been working with fiscal court and the judge executive hand in hand on that. We actually issued an RFI, request for information, back last summer on that, working with a law firm to go out and do kind of a nationwide search to see if there is anyone out there in the private sector who would be interested in partnering with us as a community to and or build and or operate an Ag Expo Center, because we want to make sure, obviously, that we're being good stewards of our monies that we have. I don't know anything about operating an Ag Expo Center, Adam. I definitely don't. We have enough things going on at SPEDA right now to operate it ourselves. We don't feel that us overseeing, or a governmental entity overseeing the operation of an Ag Expo Center would be that fruitful at this point in time. However, it is something we have great interest in. Pulaski County is such a huge farming community. Oh, yeah. One of the largest cattle farming counties east of the Mississippi River in all of America, not just in Kentucky. So farming and agriculture is so important here. I think a lot of the work ethic that you see within our citizens comes from being raised on the farm. Yep. So it's something we have great interest in doing. We are pursuing options and trying to accomplish that. But also, when you look at, for example, the Casey County Ag Expo Center, you look at the Corbin arena that's kind of an ag expo center, you have to look at their finances and where they see some struggles from time to time. And I commend both those communities for what they've done. Those are great assets for those communities, but also they're within a very short distance of us. So we want to make sure not to be repetitive of something that's already been done, that's within a 30, 40-minute drive of this community. So we are looking at any and all options. It's definitely not off the table. We just have not come across the best opportunity yet, but we're working with a great group of individuals from Kentucky Farm Bureau, the judge, the fiscal court, and so many others that are involved in the agriculture industry here in this community.
Good to know. Good to know. And I guess maybe a follow up to that. Is there anything else maybe that SPEDA has on tap for 2021 or anything else that you'd like the listeners to know?
Just stay tuned. As you said earlier, you used that example earlier. Just stay tuned. A lot of great things are taking place. A lot has happened in a short amount of time. However, we're still laying the foundation and the groundwork for things that we hope to see 3, 5, 10, and 20 years from now. This is something that we're trying to build that will long outlast me, outlast any of our elected officials who are in office right now. And that's what we're doing this for. We're doing this, Adam, for my children, for your children, and hopefully our grandchildren one day. I'm a 7th generation Pulaski County. I want to see my kids and grandkids want to live here, want to stay here. And that's why we're giving it our all. Just stay tuned. A lot of great things are taking place in Somerset-Pulaski County. I'm honored to lead this organization. The biggest thing I would urge this community is work together. Let's collaborate. Let's coordinate our efforts. No problems have ever been solved on social media, bickering back and forth about things. And I would urge everyone, instead of scrolling through our phones endlessly, like so many of us do, to get out there and commit that time and effort to community service. And we would be amazed by what this community will be able to accomplish at that point in time. It's an exciting day to live in Somerset-Pulaski County, the capital of Lake Cumberland. And Adam, I'm just so appreciative of this opportunity to talk with you. I'm sorry I get excited talking about the great things going on.
I love it. I love the passion. I love it. Last thing here, if someone wants to work with SPEDA, maybe they are wanting to open a business, maybe they're wanting to expand a current business, or maybe they're just interested more in the resources that could possibly be available to them through working with you all, what would be the best way for them to reach out for help or for more questions about that?
I would say, Adam, whatever is most convenient for them and the easiest way for them to do so, whether or not that's by email, shoot us an email, give us a phone call, come by the office, meet with us in person. We have an open door. Would love to work with anybody from, again, any walk of life, or any business, whatever it may be. And that brings to mind our mini grant series. We have our mini grants that are out there. The deadline for those, Adam, are at the end of February. We'll be announcing the new winners of those in April. But I would urge anyone, please check out our website, SomersetKyLeads.com, SomersetKentuckyLeads.com. Also check out the SPEDA Facebook page. A tremendous amount of information on both of those particular aspects. So anything we can do to help anybody, again, we want to be kind of an overall community planning organization. If we can't help you, we definitely want to be able to point you in the right direction.
And I'll be sure to link both of those in the show notes there too. Chris, I really appreciate you taking the time today to go a little bit more of a deep dive on SPEDA and your role there and everything you guys continue to do to grow this community, to impact this community. And like you said too, it's not just about impacting it for next year or the year after that. It's about making more of a generational impact for all of us. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything you do, and looking forward to staying tuned this first quarter and the rest of this year, and best of luck throughout the year.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everyone. An honor to lead the organization. Adam, keep up the good work, what you're doing, my friend.